And it's really coming around, believe it or not. I didn't know this was going to... Every day it just gets a little bit better, and I'm in no rush to carve it up. In fact, today we're going to work on Rich's stuff. So, what's good about this is, and I thought, supposing you were building a Spitfire, and you need a top block, and you got a pretzel one, well, you can do this in the middle of the summer. See, what I should have done is gone through these blocks and gotten them squared away a while back. But anyway, love those pictures from Joe Adamusco. I'm real excited about seeing him, as we always are. And a big part of my life, I mean, you just look around the shop here, Spitfires, and working with Joe for that about a 5-year span of time on a daily basis might have been one of the best times in my whole modeling life. I love those. You just look at elliptical wing planes, and it's hard not to like them. But anyway, this is one of the projects that seems to be working out pretty good here, is getting this block straightened out. Every day it just gets a little bit better. Now we are just in a part of the year where actually we've missed 3 or 4 really good flying days so far. We were away at Vermont. We're going away to Washington this week. But boy, look, not a leaf moving. It's just a perfect temperature, and we got to rake leaves. Can't believe all these leaves around here. And this is what a day's work looks like when you're all done. You get all that good exercise for free too. And I usually help one of my neighbors here who does some special favors for us while we're away. They watch the house. She takes the mail in, feeds the fish in the summer, so I rake her leaves too. And boy, am I getting to be a bodybuilder. And when all those leaves are off the tree, we'll be back. We'll be back from Washington. Anyway, we got a couple of days. Rich is supposed to come over. I'm excited about seeing if this 90 is going to go in his fuselage without a big to-do. Now, before Rich gets here, I thought I'd just lay out what I thought would be a plan for retro. This is going to be the second 90 retrofit. Jose's plane was the first. Now, the thing we have to take into account, Rich has already built this fuselage. It's already done. So he doesn't want to throw it away, and he still wants to use the 90. Now, if you take out the 90 case, you notice right away it's almost 1/4 of an inch wider. Not a lot longer. But what it means is we're going to have to take some material out of each side to fit the case in. This is exactly the same thing we had to do on Jose's plane. We had to pull that material out. Now, up to a point, I mean, I'm trying to document this because I'm sure this isn't the last plane that's ever going to get retrofit. And the point is, it's nice if you can build a new plane like we're building a 90 ship, and then everything's in your favor. But it's not a great thing when you got a retrofit and you don't know how to do it, or you're confused, or make it dangerous. Now, what I thought would be appropriate in Rich's case, and I told him to do this ahead of time, we'll see if he does it. I told him, take the old pads out. The old pads have holes drilled in them. Let's take them out. Let's get rid of the blind nuts that are in there. We could fill those holes with JB Weld. So that we're starting, and let's just go back here. This is what this would look like with the wood parts. And then what my intention is to do is to make a custom set of pads, either grind them, or because we still want it sitting on aluminum, but I'm going to have to make pads that have this cut already in them, so that the pads are going to look like this when they're done. And again, we could use my fuselage as a like I said, we can answer the phone. But we're going to see how it works out. Let me get the phone. Now, I know I can do it the way I did Jose's, because we already did Jose's, basically the same thing. But, and I didn't even take the pads out, but grinding the pads away was a real problem. So I'm going to try it this time. We're going to see if this is going to work. By doing the wood parts first, getting the holes drilled and everything, and then making the aluminum part as the last part of the project. And I also want to line up this front hole. This is kind of important on a retrofit. I found this out the hard way. I want that hole out in front of the mount, and I want this to end a little bit behind here. It gives us a little more surface area, but I don't want to have this piece on the back because I want to have the tank up as close to the motor as possible, and I want to have the ability to shim it just a little bit up and down and have different sized tanks in there. So a job like this starts out looking real simple, and you think, oh geez, just grab a drill and whatever. The other thing that I have is I have some, Rich Oliver has these blocks of aluminum that have holes drilled in it. Well, I have a case, so maybe this won't be as bad as I think it is. We're going to find out when Rich gets here with the fuselage. Again, we're going to try to do this in the easiest way possible, and it's something I'm sure other people are going to be doing in the future, so this may become something that's worth saving or worth finding a shortcut to. We'll see how it works out. Now, you know you have, Rich is here. This is the fuselage, he made it. This is for the Stuka, for the 77. You had the pads. I see you got the pads, you had the pads in there.
Yeah, I took them off.
Now are those dowels glued in?
Yes.
Okay,
All I have to do
glued
is
in. Just got to flatten them off.
You got to cut them.
Well, I got tools for that. That's no problem.
Yeah, I was looking for them, but I couldn't find them.
No problem. That I don't want you touching my tools when you don't know what the hell you're doing. Okay, so the first thing we got to do is true this up. That's
right.
number one. And we'll do
but
that.
this almost fits. I didn't pursue it any further because I wanted to make sure
you want a tight fit.
That I had a tight fit, and in addition, it was busting into the side.
Yep. Yeah, and so you got to know the distance from the front too.
Oh yeah.
You can't have that. So I don't want the hole to line up with this hole and that hole.
No, that's why it's all the way in the back.
Okay.
You see?
And it's a good thing you have half-inch mounts. See, I don't know about Jose's plane if it had half-inch mounts. It was cut quite kind of thin up in the front. So okay, all right, so the first thing is we got to get some clearance here.
I was wondering if Rich Oliver could go ahead and make me a washer.
That's
an eighth of an inch or 3/16.
You can make it any size, any length you want.
Longer.
Okay, so Rich just got back from Italy. That had a wonderful trip, 3 weeks, all expense paid Perillo trip. Got to see the Pope. Oh my God! Well, let's see what he got.
Look at this.
Well, we can tell who your friends are when they go to Italy.
Look at that.
Why don't you just bring me back to Ferrari? To hell with the flag.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's nice. I like that. That is really cool.
This we can put.
We can have dual. I gotta make that other flagpole now. We can have 2 of them, one at each end of the field.
This we can put on your flight box.
No, you'll put on the antenna of the car when we drive to Texas.
Oh, you can do that too.
With all those rednecks in Alabama.
When you go to when you drive through Alabama.
Oh yeah, where did we see those rednecks last year?
Alabama.
Oh, Alabama, yeah. They were gonna kill you, boy.
But until they saw the Schwarzenegger.
If they had you for lunch.
Then.
See, now I would have rather, if I did this job, of course you jumped the gun here, I would have filled those holes with JB Weld.
Instead of the...
But it's okay. This motor runs so smooth it doesn't even matter. You know how big the holes are in Jose's plane? I mean, you can put your finger in there.
I think this is okay, Wendy.
Yeah, okay, but now we want to true these up. I want this to be perfectly flat. No. Get it as flat as you possibly can. Even if you have to use the big carbide thing, use the big carbide thing. Yeah. Kiss it off with that till you see it's smooth. Hold it on a 45-degree angle. There you go. Don't go front to back. The point is you're not going to take the motor mounts down.
Oh, no.
But if you don't have a flat surface there, we can't even line it up to drill the holes. I got to have a flat surface to put that in a drill press upside down. So apparently you're very famous in Sweden. You're a cover boy in Sweden. That's unbelievable.
You're saying that Nazi.
Oh man, they know what you are. Okay, yeah, and go to the back. See, the thing you got to do is we got to get this flat. See how this is up above the mounts? I want this to be one true flat surface, because that's going to sit in a drill press when we drill the holes. And if it's warped one way or another, it's going to be a problem. The sticky back paper is the answer. See, I didn't know if we're going to be able to do this with a Dremel tool or what. This is working okay though. Good old sticky back sandpaper. Get that as flat as you reasonably can. You want to allow just enough that you almost could put a piece of masking tape in there. That allows for the paint, and then you get a little glue dripping down there or something. But now the problem is when I did this with Jose's plane, the aluminum never came out. See, and it was a problem, grinding the aluminum. This is the better way to do it, is to do it without putting the aluminum in, and you do it on both sides. Nice, huh?
Yeah, we're almost
All right, now, well, give it a little extra.
right here.
When you think it's done, give it a little extra because paint's going to get in there, glue, whatever.
I'm left-handed, so I have to swing it around this
Well, okay. Well, we can't help it if you're not normal.
I know.
Just take your time because getting this right and that motor in there nice and straight and solid, that's the whole deal. Nice. Okay, flip it the other way.
Just a little more.
Okay. Don't get dust on my Ferrari flag.
No.
My friend will be mad that I have 2 Ferrari flags and you only have 1.
You know what? You should see them driving there. It's scary.
The what?
You should see them driving there.
Oh yeah, in Italy?
Scary.
Well, they're Italian. They can't help it.
110 miles an hour, they think nothing of
Yeah,
it.
they all drive Ferraris and
Not all.
Lamborghinis and everything.
You know, the
You don't
big
think
Alphas,
how many Winstars did you see down there? None, right?
big Mercedes,
Yeah.
big BMW,
Big Winstars with the big engine. The 50 was
with the 90.
Yeah, now that's a big engine. All right. All right, now flip it so it goes in the other way nice and just enough you can get a little clearance there.
Yeah, I gotta take some more off.
See, because I don't want any of those nuts, any of the holes, I want them to be as far from nut as possible. And then the last thing is we'll make up the pads. How's that fitting in there? Nice? Whoa!
Perfect.
This is like putting a 427 in a Chevy Nova, baby.
This is good now.
Oh, yeah.
This is good. I got.
Don't you even feel good just putting a big engine in a small fuselage? Now these are the type of drills we're going to try to do the job with. These are these extended drills I have from my machine shop days, which when you want to get down in and get it. The idea is to drill it, spot it with a smaller drill than what you really need, and then make sure everything lines up before you put the real size drill in there, and of course and then the blind nuts. Now see, the idea was we don't want any of these 2 lining up,
Right.
which is we got our way, and we're going to have the pad go to the front but not to the back. And I'll show you why when we go to do this. Just look from the top, get it wedged in, and see if everything looks good. We'll put it back in the drill press because you want to keep these holes at 90 degrees. That's the whole deal.
It looks good. Take a
You
look.
can see it right through the top. Well, you can see. Okay.
Looks pretty good.
All right, so now we just go to the drill press and drill them through.
What you need to do is, of course, you're going to drill a small hole,
A tiny hole.
and
Then
then
we're going to see if we're off. If we're off one way or another, you work it with the file.
with the needle file.
Not that I have no confidence in you. All right, so now we got the bolts nice through there.
But this guy, this friend of yours, he's got a
Okay.
plane with a swastika on it.
Well, if he only knew what a Nazi you really are. Okay, now we just got to open these up for the blind nuts. Now, if any of them aren't real good, you're trying to do it with a 440 wrench. That's the problem. You're trying to tighten a 632 bolt with a 440. Jeez. I gotta erase this off the video. People think we don't know what we're doing. A man should use the right tool for the right... That's my epoxy stirring wrench. You're not gonna tighten that bolt with that. All we want to do is see that all 4 of the bolts come through nice and straight. Then we'll open it up for the blind nuts. And then we gotta make pads, and then we'll be in good shape.
It's a little snug.
Okay, if one is a little snug, that's the one we'll open it up 5 thousandths. We'll just get a number drill and open it up, that's all. You want to have these that they go in nice, you know, that's not an ordeal getting them in and out. Because that hole is going to set where the blind nut is, so you want the hole to be nice and tight.
That's it.
And you got the bolts through, and the bolts are in a good spot.
Yeah. They
Oh,
look
that's
good.
nice.
They look
Okay.
good.
Okay, that's the hard part. The hard part is done.
Wow.
That's a piece of iron, huh?
It's a
You know what I remember? I was working on a lathe when Joe Kay and I had the machine shop, and I never worked on a big lathe before. And we had a big lathe, you know, you could put a car tire in it.
yeah.
And the first time I hit the switch, I said, "Oh Jesus!" Or a steam engine when they go, and there's a car in the way, and it just gets thrown. Yeah, that's heavy iron there. You know, we got a little bit of oil on the tip of the bolt because we're going to go into these holes. I got them relieved for the blind nuts. Just enough relief. Okay, you could tighten up the blind nuts on
Well,
that.
there's only 3 here.
One by the drill press. And I have this little drill in the drill press that sets exactly the height that we're using for those blind nuts. And we got those blind nuts. We put a little thing on the internet and got plenty of them now. We got enough to make 4 or 5 more planes, so. Now, Rich likes to use Vaseline on the bolts, but no matter what, anything so that CA does not wind up sticking. Was we're going to put a little bit of CA around those blind nuts. Now, once the blind nuts are in, then we can make the pads. See, the problem with this, if the pads are already in a plane, boy, is it difficult to grind them. You can't get around them, and the aluminum hits the, you know, everything's in a way. It's like a nightmare. This way, I just think is a lot better. I think this is the way we're going to do it as we retrofit more and more of these planes. Okay, the blind nuts are CA'd in. Take the bolts out, and now we'll measure it up for the pads. Let's just measure it up for a set of pads, and you'll be in Fat City. Okay, now the only thing we shorten the pads so that you can get the motor, the tank, right back on the motor. But if you notice, one hole is already drilled. You don't even have to drill that hole. We just got to pick up the back hole and look at how it spots in there. Oh, this is going to be like shooting fish in a barrel. All right, so just put the tape on there and we'll pick up that hole, drill it in a drill press, and you're home free all, baby. And it couldn't be easy. You don't even need me. I probably won't even get a salami sandwich out of this deal. Drop it in there, baby. Tighten the bolts and then we'll cut the bolts off. Because I know if I forget to cut the bolts off, the first time you put them, the top block on, did you ever do that?
Yep.
Yep.
Comes through
right through
the turtle duck.
Right through. And people that say they've never done that, you know they're liars. And then once you get that in, and just take 2 of these screws. Well, you could do it you could put it ahead of time. That's so nice. What you do, just drop the bolts in the holes. You know what I mean, Rich? Now to put them in, just put the bolts through, because if the bolts go through, it should be no problem at all. See, the only reason I have to cut the back of that off is because I want to have, when we do these, that the tanks, they're going to be carbon tanks. They'll go right up on the engine. See, now that one wood screw is enough to hold it. Really, the only thing that wood screw does is hold it in place while you're working on the engine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because
and you don't want it stick. Right, you don't want the head of the screw sticking up so it rubs on anything.
When you have it bolted in, when you have the engine bolted in, it's not going anyplace.
Yeah. I've had them where it didn't even have the screws in them. In the beginning, we were just putting aluminum in there without the screws. It was Big Jim's idea to put the screws.
It's too bad that he is in the shape that he's in.
Okay, as Rich gets the final fit, the final bolt, the final everything. Then I want to put a prop on this, put a little fuel in it, and I want to hear it pop one time. Take your finger off. Because don't forget now, you've entered the world of real men. No more sissies. This is macho stuff, baby.
There it is.
And just remember, you're in the world of real men now. This is not for the faint of hearted. Another retrofit, exactly what we had in mind.
That's it.
Couple hours of work.
Beautiful.
Retrofit-o-matic. I think you got it made. I think
Okay.
that's gonna be the bones of a plane.
No, maybe you're right. Maybe all I have to do is just sand this down a little bit.
Yeah, I would do that. I wouldn't, rather than make a special piece, take an 1/8 inch, just put it up on a belt sander. Take
Oh,
the
I
thing
know.
off.
I know.
No, that's going to be nice. You're home free all, kid. You're in the world of real men now.
And the engine is back, you know.
There's some pictures came in today from our good friend Truman Humphreys. He's out in California eating up all the good weather. Truman calls this plane a no blig mag. I guess it's a combination of several designs. Sig Magnum, fuselage, nobler wing, landing gear. Chord is 3/4 inches wider than a stock nobler wing. He built 2 airplanes of this design from scratch, and I'm reading his caption. They are 15 years old and they still fly great. This is a plane Truman built the T-Bird back in, imagine this, 1957. 1957. This plane has a lot of good memories for Truman, and Truman, to tell you, to be honest with you, has a lot of good memories for me. I was a young kid in 1950. Well, I guess you were too. I guess we all were. Anyway, thanks for the photos, and we'll pass these on, of course. Oh, also, this is pretty neat stuff. In today's mail, we got our first issue of Control Line World. Premier issue, soon to become a collector's item because we're already thinking about doubling the size, and there's already going to be a lot of other people contributing that I can tell you very, very soon this is going to be over 100 pages. They already have all the major contributors and advertisers on board. There's some real nice building tips, and I don't want to give away any of the secrets, but the next issue is going to have a giant article from me, and I'm not even going to tell you the topic. Review of the Brodak 25, some neat stuff from Bob Zambelli, stuff from Kent Ticer, advertisements from people you might not have known, because this not only covers stunt, it covers everything. It's covering the world of speed, among other things. Electrics. There's stuff in here that's going to be electric control line. Mikey Palco's a contributor. And this is just about as good as it gets. There's a review of Strega, the ARF Strega that isn't even out yet. Some speed stuff. In other words, a lot of the people in the speed world I'm not familiar with, but for sure Pete Klepsik we all know. Some Navy carrier stuff. This is going to be just absolutely great to have another Control Line magazine. And I just don't want anybody to think that the idea is ha ha ha. You know, we can only have one magazine. I hope they make a third one. You know, I still love Pampa. I still love Stunt News. I still plan to write for both magazines. And I really hope we can get as much coverage as we can. Anything we can do, here's the Brodak flying, anything we can do to promote, get Control Line and keep it growing, keep it going. Midgley stuff. Tom Allen is the editor. Some stuff from John Brodak. Now, the thing is, the first issue gets mailed out free, so all you need to do is put your name on a mailing list. I think everybody knows the Brodak address. Email, flyin@brodak.com. Get the phone number up there. Let's see if we can get it clearer. You can basically just call and they'll send you one. It's a subscription form. It's $25 a year. International $35. So far the people in Sweden, the people in Sweden got Ramo and a friend of Ramo's who used to be his boss. They got their magazine before I did. So anyway, here's some of the deadlines. Deadline coming out. And I think they've pushed it back just a bit, but you could always check with Tim and find out. This is something I'm real excited about. Anything we can do, and never lose sight of the fact, anything we can do to promote our sport, it doesn't matter what it is, anything is going to help it endure tough times. We don't really have the kind of flying fields now all over the place. We don't have the support from the AMA, that's for sure. You don't read anything in the AMA magazine. But here's a dedicated magazine to control line. And I think everybody should seriously consider, that the more magazines we have and the more coverage, the more chance are that we can make this grow and stretch it out into the future as long as possible, especially while we're all getting older by the day. And special thanks to John Brodak for bringing this to market. We'll be contributing on a regular basis. And by the way, anybody that has pictures, would like to write articles, please contact Tim right away and get on the mailing list, I guess is the right word. A good magazine and a great effort by everyone involved with it. I'm looking forward to the next issue already. And it will be a lot bigger than this one, I'm sure. Now this morning I needed to clean off the molding bench here, because this is what I love to do every morning. When I get done with a day of production, pop my molds, get another nice little set of exhausts. For some lucky P51 owner, get that out every day. We do that with the scrap resin that's left over, the overage. Pull the Teflon on our mold. The gear mold, we've made so many of them that basically every one comes out perfect. We don't have any development part, anything to deal with development wise on that. But we're going to put this away for today. And rather than work on a production item, this is something we made years ago, and Rich Jacobone is now ready for his next Stuka cowl. So I'm going to lay up, get all the material ready. We'll lay him up a cowl, even though he doesn't really need it. But getting that 90 in yesterday, that was really nice. That was, and I know that'll hopefully get him excited about getting this model into production. But again, I'm going to clean out the cowl. Now there's always some dust or I call it schmutz that gets in there. Sometimes you can use a razor on it to just break it loose.